Shedeur Sanders just rocked the fashion world with a massive move that has everyone talking. The star quarterback made his high-fashion debut with luxury brand Amiri in Paris. And this isn't your typical endorsement deal. We're talking about an $80 million partnership that's turning heads across the NFL and the fashion industry. Buckle up, because this story is absolutely insane. Here's what happened. Shedeur and his brother Shilo reportedly locked down an $80 million deal with Amiri. You read that correctly, $80 million. But this goes way beyond wearing clothes and posting photos on social media. Both brothers are set to walk the runway in Paris. We're talking actual high-fashion European runways, the whole experience. Shedeur Sanders is literally going from throwing touchdowns to strutting down Fashion Week catwalks. And honestly, it's brilliant.
Shilo, he has a better closet for sure. He has a little bit more free time. Yeah, I got some more free time now. But we both have swag, you know what I'm saying? We get it from prime time. He hates to say it, but everything he try to wear, our dad already did. So he think he be doing it.
Now, you're probably asking yourself, why Shedeur? What made Amiri, this elite luxury fashion brand, put $80 million on the table for a football player? Let me explain. Shedeur's influence has major fashion brands fighting for his attention, and Amiri knew they couldn't wait. According to reports, Amiri signed him specifically because of his powerful connection to the American black community. He's one of the highest-rated young players who genuinely embodies the culture, the lifestyle, and the authenticity that luxury brands are racing to tap into. This deal isn't just about moving products. This is about cultural impact. This is about finding someone who can connect high fashion with street culture, luxury with realness. And Shedeur Sanders is the perfect bridge for exactly that. Amiri found their guy, and now Shedeur has touched down in Paris, preparing to hit that runway soon. His value is exploding, not just on the field, but off it in ways most athletes only dream about. But here's where things get absolutely crazy, and this is where you really see the business brilliance of Shedeur Sanders. Let's back up for a second. Earlier, Gatorade offered Shedeur $60 million for a 3-year deal. For most athletes, $60 million over 3 years is an automatic yes. That's life-changing money. That's generational wealth. But Shedeur Sanders isn't like most athletes.
Now fast forward recently to Shedeur Sanders, Deion Sanders' son, goes viral, but not for football, but for how he structured his contract. He had an equity clause in his deal with Gatorade. That clause basically said, I'm not just here as a name or a body. I want part of what's being built off of me. I want ownership in the outcome. So that clause essentially just preserved his interest. And he didn't walk away with just a one-time check. He walked away with his corrected status in the contract, and he claimed his equity.
Instead of taking the guaranteed payout, he restructured the deal to secure 3% ownership of Gatorade USA. Let that register for a second. He walked away from guaranteed cash to get equity in one of the biggest beverage companies on the planet. This is the kind of power move that separates good athletes from legendary businessmen. This is the type of decision they'll be teaching in business schools for decades. Even though 3% might not sound massive at first, this is absolutely game-changing in terms of long-term returns. Gatorade USA pulls in billions, with a B, billions of dollars in revenue every single year, and owning even a fraction of that empire means Shedeur will be cashing checks for years, possibly decades into the future. This isn't about quick money. This is about building lasting wealth. This is about setting up his grandchildren's grandchildren for life. And here's the wild part. If the projections hold, Shedeur could become the youngest NFL billionaire while still playing. Think about that. Not a millionaire, a billionaire, all while he's still suiting up on Sundays. He wouldn't need to wait until retirement. He wouldn't need to wait until his 40s or 50s. We could be watching a billionaire athlete still in his 20s, still making plays, still breaking records on the field. While billionaire status might seem impossible for most athletes, it's not far-fetched for Shedeur, who's already fielding multi-million-dollar offers from multiple brands. This man is playing a completely different game, operating on a level far beyond anyone else in his generation. Long before he ever took a professional snap, Shedeur made headlines by securing a record-shattering deal that had the entire sports world stunned. At the time, the $125 million contract was unprecedented for a player who hadn't played a single down in the NFL. People questioned it. Sports analysts, commentators, fans on Twitter, they all wondered if he deserved that kind of money without proving himself first. But Shedeur didn't worry about the doubters. He knew his value, and more importantly, the brands knew it too. But things escalated quickly. The moment Shedeur stepped onto the field for his first preseason game, Nike triggered a special active player clause that immediately doubled his contract value. Just like that, his earnings jumped to an eye-popping $250 million over the next 4 years. And the deal went beyond just salary. Shedeur also negotiated an unprecedented 50% cut of all his jersey sales, creating a revenue stream that puts him in a category of his own. Think about that, 50% of jersey sales. When's the last time you heard of any athlete getting a deal like that? While other rookies were celebrating their standard endorsement contracts and posting their signing bonuses on Instagram, Shedeur was already playing a completely different game on a completely different level.
Shedeur Sanders has sold the most amount of jerseys out of any rookie this year, but out of the top 10 jersey sellers, he's making the least amount of money. Which got me thinking, how many jerseys would he actually have to sell in order to match his NFL salary? He's on a 4-year, $4.6 million deal, which averages about $1.16 million per year. A jersey costs $130, so he'd have to sell about 9,000 jerseys per year, or 35,736 jerseys total to pay out his NFL contract. It's crazy because if you compare it to Cam Ward, he'd have to sell over 375,000 jerseys to match his NFL contract. Sometimes the brand is bigger than the draft.
This made Shedeur not just the highest paid rookie in NFL history, but one of the most influential athletes in any sport. What's even shocking is that he was already outpacing big-name prospects like Cam Ward and Travis Hunter, despite not being selected in the first round, as many predicted. Let that sink in. He wasn't a top draft pick, yet he's making more money and bigger moves than guys who were. In other words, Shedeur proved that draft position doesn't determine success. Business intelligence and timing do. The NFL draft matters, sure, but it's not everything. What really counts is how you use your platform, how you negotiate your contracts, and how you position yourself in the market. Shedeur understood this from the beginning. While other players stressed about their draft stock, Shedeur was building his brand, locking in partnerships, and constructing the foundation for an empire. Shedeur Sanders has never hidden his business-first approach, and it's obvious that his influence extends far beyond the football field. Beyond his record-breaking Nike contract, he's been steadily building a diverse empire that would make most entrepreneurs envious. From launching his own apparel line to dropping a signature barbecue sauce brand, partnering with EA Sports for exclusive gaming content, and securing a major partnership with Brady, Tom Brady's wellness and apparel company, Shedeur has positioned himself as more than just an athlete. He's become a brand powerhouse.
Yeah, I'm just excited for all of them. I gifted a lot of receivers the Prime DT96s. You know, a couple of them had them on, so I just gifted a couple of like the main receivers going into this game. You know, I gifted them some cleats. Some wore them, some didn't, but I was like, okay, this is just my little appreciation gift to them, because they don't be having a lot in stock. So I couldn't do everybody. I wish I could.
Each of these ventures isn't just a side project or a quick money grab. They're strategic plays designed to maximize his earning potential and establish his presence across multiple industries. The apparel line connects with his massive young fan base. The barbecue sauce ties into his Southern roots and family legacy. The EA Sports partnership keeps him relevant in the gaming world where millions of young fans live. And the Brady partnership aligns him with one of the greatest quarterbacks ever and positions him as a future legend himself. What makes Shedeur's rise even more impressive is how he stayed authentic while building this empire. In an era where athletes get criticized for being too corporate or disconnected from their roots, Shedeur has kept his connection to the culture. He represents a new generation of athletes who refuse to just shut up and play. They know their value, they understand their influence, and they're not afraid to capitalize on it in ways previous generations never imagined. The Amiri deal is the perfect example. Luxury fashion has traditionally been dominated by European perspectives and aesthetics, but brands like Amiri recognize that the future of fashion is diverse, urban, and heavily influenced by Black American culture. Hip-hop, streetwear, sports, these are the forces driving fashion forward, and Shedeur Sanders sits at the center of all three. He's the ideal ambassador for a brand trying to stay relevant and authentic in 2025 and beyond. So, what can we learn from Shedeur Sanders? First, know your worth and don't be afraid to bet on yourself. Second, think long-term. Equity beats salary every time. Third, diversify your income because your playing career won't last forever. And finally, stay authentic because that's what makes you valuable in the first place. Shedeur Sanders isn't just changing the game, he's rewriting the entire playbook for what it means to be a modern athlete. From the football field to the fashion runway, from Gatorade boardrooms to Paris Fashion Week, this young man is building something that will outlast his playing career by decades. What do you think of Shedeur's $80 million Amiri deal? Is this the future of athlete endorsements? Let me know in the comments below.